We finally have Championship action returning this weekend, guys, and so today we have my Championship Week 10 score predictions, and it does feel like ages since we have had some Championship football, so thank God we're back on it now with our score predictions. So as always, guys, all this weekend's fixtures will be listed in the description down below, so that you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions, and then if you do successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, then your comment will be included into the next video. If you do go on to enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, guys, let's go ahead and hop into my score predictions. So starting it out, we got the game going on tonight at Hillsborough between Sheff Wednesday and Middlesbrough. Quite an interesting game going into this one, although I do feel as if this probably won't be the most entertaining game going on this weekend. I just got a gut feeling about that. A lot of games so far this season regarding Middlesbrough have been fairly low scoring, and I get the impression that this game will probably follow in a similar path to that. Sheff Wednesday, though, coming into this one on a very good run of form at the moment. They're currently sat 6th in the Championship. Their last game before the international break, managing to pick up all 3 points away at Aston, beating Bristol City by 2-1. Lucas Jow scoring both goals in that game. Obviously, Middlesbrough still do hold the best defensive record in the Championship. However, in their last game before the international break, a 2-0 home loss against Nottingham Forest, it was arguably Middlesbrough's worst performance of the season so far. Defensively, they made a couple of basic errors, and going forward, they were looking quite limp for that game as well. You know, Preston missed a couple one-on-ones. John Hugel hasn't really clicked into this Middlesbrough side instantly as of yet, and Martin Braithwaite was really their only forward option for that game. So hopefully they'll have rejuvenated over this international break, and we can see an entertaining game of football. But I feel as if this one, not a lot's going to be in it, and I'm going to back this one to finish as a 1-1 draw, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Sheff Wednesday. Then into Saturday's games, we've got Blackburn Rovers going up against Leeds United, and this is the sort of game which I'm really intrigued to see the outcome of, really, because so far this season Blackburn have been a very entertaining side to watch. Bradley Dack so far already scoring 6 goals in the Championship, but going up against this Leeds United side, who are currently sat 3rd in the Championship, is never an easy task. Leeds could also be bolstered with some players returning from injury. I believe that Berardi, Kemar Roof, and possibly Pablo Hernandez all could be featured for this game for Leeds. I think the player that I'm looking forward to seeing the most returning for Leeds United is Pablo Hernandez. He may not be fit for this weekend, but even so, the way he's able to operate in tight spaces, he can be an absolute nightmare to mark against, and they have missed a little bit of his dynamic since he has been out injured. But going up against this Blackburn side, their home record at Ewood Park has been very good so far this season. I don't see all too much being in this game. Both sides have showed so far this season that they are capable of scoring. Both of them bring quite a goal threat into this one, and I'm just going to back Leeds for a 2-1 away victory, because I feel like this international break was good timing for Leeds, really, with them able to get some of their players back from injury. I feel like that will have given them a bit of an extra boost after this international break. So for that reason, I will just back Leeds for a 2-1 away victory, with FIFA saying it'll be a 1-1 draw. And then next up, we see Aston Villa going up against Swansea City. Dean Smith's first game in charge of Aston Villa. We'll see this weekend if he is able to have that instant impact. Usually when a new manager does come into a job, all the players seem to get a bit more bounce about them, and Aston Villa are certainly going to need that. You know, judging by their last performance, a 2-1 away defeat at Millwall, some of their performances this season so far have been really dreary, but I believe that Dean Smith will be the right appointment for Aston Villa in the long run. I think that he could get an instant impact from this group of players. I'm interested to see what system he goes with for this Villa side, and if he does go for the 4-3-3 formation, I'm interested to see what forward 3 he'll go with, because Villa have got a lot of attacking options. Defensively, though, they'll also be bolstered by James Chester returning from suspension. That will be massive for them. Without James Chester, the Aston Villa defence, you know, can just crumble, really. With the lack of options there, a leader at the back like Chester will be absolutely pivotal. Going up against the Swansea side, who will be looking to put their previous result behind them, a 3-2 home loss against Ipswich Town, where, in all honesty, they didn't actually play that bad. They had quite a few opportunities in that game. Ollie McBurney probably should have scored a couple of goals, and then it would have been a different result, obviously. But I feel like with it being Dean Smith's first game in charge, I feel like Aston Villa will get that bounce back. So for this game, I'm going to go for a 2-1 home victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Villa. And then we see Brentford going up against Bristol City, so we'll also be able to see this weekend what the effects will be on Brentford after they've lost their manager. But quite an interesting game. Neither side are coming into this one on sparkling form. Brentford have drawn their last 3 games in the Championship, and Bristol City are without a win in their last 5. So it's an intriguing one. It's a good opportunity for either of these two sides to go ahead and bounce back, get back to winning ways in this one. Brentford's last game in the Championship during 1-1 with Leeds United. Quite a dramatic game, that one, actually, with Leeds equalising late on. Bristol City, some of their performances have dipped quite dramatically from the start of the season. It was only a couple months ago where we were seeing them really hitting towards the top of the Championship. They were in fantastic form. Their forward line all scoring goals. I think it's also fair to say that Bristol City have suffered defensively since Thomas Callas has been out injured. But for a prediction for for this game, I'm going to back Brentford for a 2-1 home victory, whereas FIFA's going to say it'll be 1-0 Bristol City. That one can definitely go either way. And then we see Hull City going up against my team, Preston, off there. Now, there should be goals in this game. Looking at both sides' defensive records so far this season, Preston conceding 24 goals already and Hull already conceding 19 goals in the Championship. However, Preston have, we kept a clean sheet in our last game, beating Wigan by 4-0. I'm hoping we take that confidence into this game against Hull City, and I'm hoping that will be a bit of a turning point in our season, really. Sean Maguire also coming back from an injury. I don't think he's quite ready to start yet, but making an appearance off the bench I think will be an added boost for everyone. Lucas Demetric in his last game for Preston, I thought led the line absolutely superbly for us, making runs going forward, being very strong, holding up the ball. I think he'll cause this whole defence all sorts of problems going forward. Although Preston's last two results have been very positive, picking up a draw against Aston Villa and a home win against Wigan Athletic, it has to be said that we did play, both those games against 10 men. We saw a red card in both those games for the opposition, so if Hull can keep 11 players on the pitch, I think this will be a very competitive game actually. With Hull currently sat bottom of the Championship, they're desperate to go ahead and turn their form around, and 3 points for either side in this game would be absolutely huge. We saw Hull in their last game lose 1-0 against Sheffield United. Got quite unlucky in that game actually. I thought, they had a couple of opportunities in the second half where they could have snatched it themselves. So Hull by no means, wrote off at the bottom of the Championship though. They're still a very competitive side, and so for this game, I'm going to back Preston for a 3-2 away victory. I feel like there will be goals in this game, and FIFA's going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw. I'm just praying we get a win this weekend. Then we see Ipswich Town going up against QPR, with Ipswich picking up their first win of the season before the international break, a 3-2 away victory against Swansea City. They'll be hoping that their fortunes have turned around this season. Going up against this QPR side though, never an easy task really. A couple of people thought when we saw them get battered by West Brom earlier in the season that would be lights out for QPR, but since then they picked up their form fairly well, and they got options from midfield going forward who can hurt this Ipswich side. I feel like the battle of midfield for this game will be quite pivotal actually. It's a good chance for either side to pick up all 3 points, because so far they have been sort of evenly matched. Ipswich though, already drawing 6 games in the Championship, it wouldn't surprise me to see this game heading in a similar avenue, and so for a prediction, I'm actually going to back this one to finish as a 0-0 draw. I don't think there'll be all too much between these two sides, so I'll say 0-0. FIFA's going to say 2-0 QPR. And then we see Nottingham Forest going up against Norwich City. Forest at the moment under a very good run of form in the Championship. They're unbeaten now in their last 6 games. Since they lost against Brentford away from home, I think they've turned their fortunes around quite well actually. Lewis Grobban getting back within the goals as well. It'll be a tough game to predict this one. And before Norwich lost their last game against Stoke City, they were under a fantastic run of form in the Championship. In that game against Stoke, I actually thought that Norwich got quite unlucky really. They had a lot of the ball, just nothing was falling for them defensively. Stoke looked to sit in quite deep for that game, and Norwich just couldn't break them down. And it's the sort of game which I can see finishing 1-0 to either side, so I will just back Nottingham Forest for a slim home victory in that game. Once again, I don't see there being all too much in this one. I just feel as if Forest may have a bit more quality in this game, so I'll say 1-0 Forest, and FIFA is going to agree with me. And then we see Reading going up against Millwall, two sides at the moment who are just sat above the relegation zone, so this matchup is a massive chance for either of them to go on and pick up all 3 points and start to slowly bridge a gap between them and the relegation zone. Going into this game, Millwall have picked up 2 pretty positive results in their last 2 outings in the Championship. A draw away at Nottingham Forest and then a home victory against Aston Villa. They'll be hoping to take that into this game. Reading so far this season haven't been brilliant, although one player who I have liked the look of so far has been John Daddy Bodvarsson. Going forward, Reading do offer an option. They've got fast wingers going forward, and Bodvarsson so far has been a very good target man for them. Really, for both sides this season, it has been silly defensive blunders which have been letting them down, and so for this game, I don't see all too much being in it really. I'm going to back it to finish as a 1-1 draw. That one could easily go either way. I'll say 1-1, and FIFA once again is going to agree with me. Then next up, we see Rotherham United going up against Bolton Wanderers. Two sides coming into this one who neither are on a brilliant run of form at this point in time in the Championship. We've seen Bolton lose their last 2 games. Obviously, their latest defeat coming at home against Blackburn Rovers, losing 1-0 in that game. I thought they probably got a bit unlucky in that one really. They probably deserved the point from it. So far this season, though, Rotherham's home record has been what has been keeping them above the relegation zone. They picked up quite a few positive results at home so far, and they made themselves a really hard side to break down. Going forward on the counter-attack, they got pace on the wings, and from set pieces, they can be a very deadly outfit. This Bolton side does frustrate me a couple times. We see them playing quite defensively sometimes. We just want to see them go for it a little bit more, and I feel like if Bolton do sit into that defensive mindset from minute 1 in this game, with how Rotherham have set up so far this season at home, I actually see Rotherham just snatching this game, so I'll just back Rotherham for a slim 1-0 home victory, with FIFA saying it'll finish as a 1-1 draw. I'm interested to see the outcome of that game. And then next up, we see Stoke City going up against Birmingham City. A very intriguing encounter for this one. It's always interesting when we see Gary Rowett going up against Birmingham, and this game could be quite a lively affair actually. Stoke in the Championship are now only 3 points off the playoffs, which is absolutely crazy to me, with them currently sat in 14th. Obviously, they picked up 2 back-to-back wins in the Championship lately. Also 2 back-to-back clean sheets as well, which I think is the main thing to take from those games for Stoke, really, because considering how shambolic they were looking defensively at the start of the season, maybe that's a sign of things to come with Stoke going forward now, because defensively was the area they needed to improve on. Scoring goals hasn't been the problem for them so far. Going up against this Birmingham side, though, they're no easy customers when you're going up against this side. They've only lost 2 games so far this season, and with the amount of games they've drawn so far, you know, it has been a bit of a frustrating start for them, but some of their performances have been absolutely terrific and just haven't had the results to go on and merit that. In their last game, though, a fantastic 3-1 home victory against Rotherham United with Jutkiewicz popping up and scoring a hat-trick. They've been looking for that talisman going forward this season, and maybe with the form that Jutkiewicz is currently shown, he'll be just that for them this season. But even with how good Birmingham have been defensively this season, I see quite a few goals being scored in this game, and so I'll back this one to finish as a 2-2 draw, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Stoke. Then next up we see Wigan Athletic going up against West Brom. Wigan in their last game in the Championship losing 4-0 away at Preston North End, although it has to be said that their away record and home record have contrasted so far this season. At home they've been much stronger, and they'll be looking to take the game to West Brom in this one. West Brom so far this season, though, you cannot deny they have been on absolute fire, scoring goals for fun at this point in time. Defensively, Wigan have looked quite suspect in some of their previous games as well. They were without a win in their last 3 games in the Championship, and with how just dynamic this West Brom forward line is, you can never write them off from any game, really. Even when they have been suspect themselves defensively, they've always got players going forward who can get them out of jail, and I feel like there will be quite a few goals scored in this one. With Joe Garner not really setting the world alight for Wigan so far, I'm interested to see what system they actually go with against this West Brom side. But for a prediction, I'm going to back West Brom for a 3-1 away victory. I feel like going forward, they'll just have that bit more quality than Wigan in this game, whereas FIFA saying it'll just be 1-0 West Brom. Then, as our final game to predict, we've got the evening kickoff on Saturday going on between Derby County and Sheffield United, and this game definitely has the potential to be one of the most interesting ones this weekend, actually, with Sheffield United currently sat top of the Championship. They've won their last 4 games and looking very good at the moment. You know, they're on an absolute roll. Going up against this Derby side who are sat just outside the playoffs at the moment, you never really know what you're going to get from this Derby squad. But when they are at their best, they can be an absolute nightmare to play against. I feel like Derby have suffered this season going up against teams who have set up quite defensively against them, where they've not found a lot of space in behind. I don't feel like Sheffield United will approach the game like that, though. You're going to look to take the game to Derby, look to pick up all 3 points away from home. I think that if they do approach the game like that, it could actually be a really open, expansive game of football. Both sides have players who could hit each other going forward, and for a prediction, I'm going to back this one to finish as a 2-2 draw. I think it'll be a very open, very engaging game of football. Could go either way, but I think there will be goals, and I'm going to back it to finish as a 2-2 draw, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-1 Sheffield United. But guys, there you have it. There are my Championship Week 10 score predictions. So like I said at the start of the video, make sure you guys do get your score predictions in the comments down below. I'm interested to see what you guys are saying for this weekend. But that will now wrap it up for this video, guys. So if you did go on to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.